welcome. Everybody say hi.
Hi.
So we have a bunch of people who are here because, well, we are waiting for buses, so we figured we'd get a head start on our China video. We are in, what lesson are we in, guys? Lesson 1. And we are going to look at the birth of Chinese influence. And here's why it matters on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
China is one of the powerful countries.
Okay, guys. Hopefully that was nice and clear that today is China's one of the world's most powerful countries. And so, like all the other countries we've studied, it has a huge impact on us.
We're now ready for middle.
So anyways, guys, sorry we got interrupted by buses, all of that, but please make sure you are reading these notes carefully, writing in all the blanks, and these are due Wednesday. Say hi, everyone.
Hey!
All right. So take a look at our box right under our first big picture. All right. So let's take a look here, some basic geography. And like I've talked about in class, you guys are really comfortable with geography, so we're going to kind of go through this fast. But it is important to know a little bit about Chinese geography. So civilization began on the Huanghe and the Changyang rivers. Okay? Now, the Changyang is sometimes called the Yangtze, T-Z-E. And the Huanghe is called the Yellow River. It's called that because the silt in the river gives it a really deep yellow color. You can see that picture up there. Make sure you write in those other names. Southern China receives more rain than northern China, and farmers can grow several crops of rice a year. So you can have crops year-round. It's not just one harvest. So we can get a surplus. And we have boundaries in western China. We have mountains and deserts that make it difficult to travel and isolate China's population all to the east. And tomorrow we're going to look at a map and really kind of plot those points in. So let's put boundaries right here. Okay, boundaries. So you should have the names of the two rivers written in, then the word surplus and the word boundaries. I'm going to be looking for those as we go. Now, take a look under on the map that you have down here, okay? And we're going to color in this map just like you see. So we're going to color the populated area green. So the green would be all of this area around here. We're going to color that in green. The desert area up here is going to be yellow, and it kind of goes all the way to the top of China. And the mountains are going to be orange over here. And let's draw in some mountains there. All right, so make sure that you draw that in, and if you don't have colored pencils, you need to label that. So most of our civilization is going to be over in this area along the coast where the river plains are. So that's going to be, it's going to look a little bit like this. Green over here, and then yellow up here, and then orange over there. Okay. And like we said, it's that silt that gives it that yellow color. It should look a little bit like that.
Oh yeah, my friend Adrian.
So let's take a look at this hot question, this higher order thinking question. Do you want to come read the hot question to me? No? Okay, Charlie doesn't want to read it. What impact did the geography of China have on communication and trade with other civilizations? So write that in. Think about what we know about those mountains down here. Mountains, 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 mountains. The deserts up here. And some of the difficulties that people might have. We know that trade did happen a little bit with the Silk Road, but how might this geography have impacted or made it harder or easier to trade with other civilizations and to communicate with them. Ooh, so big. So let's look now at the first dynasty of ancient China, the Shang dynasty. All right, they were right here in that Huanghe River Valley, and they were ruled by a king, so they were a monarchy. So let's draw a little crown down here. Boop, 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 boop. Crown. That's a real weird looking crown. Hopefully yours is better. Warlords governed local territories. So if you were a good military leader, you would have sort of little local areas, and then the warlords were ruled by the king. But most people were farmers, okay? Just like every other civilization we've studied this year. Farmers are always the backbone of society. They worshipped many gods. We know that word. Polytheistic. Go ahead and write that in. Merp, merp. Miss Todrick's having a hard time. Polytheistic. Polytheistic. But the priest actually did something kind of cool. So they honored their ancestors and sought guidance from them. So the spirits of the ancestors were kind of worshipped almost like gods. And so there was a respect for the ancestors. And in ancient China, priests would write questions on turtle shell oracle bones and throw them into a fire. And then the patterns of the cracks were interpreted as messages from the gods. Put a star by these oracle bones here. This is a big thing that we are going to be taking a look at. And we're going to learn a little bit more about them in class. But the idea would be that you would write a message on a turtle shell or other bones and then throw them into the fire. And then the moisture in the bones would cause them to expand and crack. And as they did that, then the cracks would be interpreted as yes or no answers or messages from the gods. Okay, so that's one way that the priests were believed, or the priests communicated with the spirits or with the ancestors. The other dynasty we're going to talk about today is the Zhou dynasty. And I want you to write, I know it doesn't look like Zhou, but we're going to write Zhou, J-O-E. And I want you to imagine like a French guy saying Zhou, like the name Joe. That's how we pronounce that. I know, it's kind of funny. This was China's longest dynasty. So let's circle the word longest. So according to legend, the last of the Shang rulers was a wicked tyrant. That means he was just a terrible leader. So in 1045 BC, let's circle that date, rebels overthrew the government and declared a new dynasty called the Zhou dynasty. And it lasted for more than 800 years. And there's some things in Chinese history that we're going to look at that helped the Zhou dynasty last for such a long time. And we know what a dynasty is. A dynasty is our family of rulers, like we learned about in ancient Egypt. So why did the Zhou dynasty last so long? First, it had a really effective bureaucracy. This is government officials who carry out tasks. So the government was really well organized. And it helped to create really stable leadership. So even if one person, one king died, then the leaders and all of the bureaucrats could still kind of keep everything in order. There is also a concept called the mandate of heaven, which we're going to look a lot more about in lesson 2, but it's important for you to know that this is important. So circle this, star this, okay? The idea of the mandate of heaven is that a king's right to rule comes from the god. It's their mandate. It's what they say is mandatory or required. And that a king must honor or please the gods. And if you failed that, you would be replaced. So dynasties wanted to make sure that they did the right thing because they didn't want to be replaced. Now, in our next video notes, we'll talk a lot more about how that cycle works and how some different dynasties really held tight to that idea. But for now, please make sure you get this all done. Go back and double check, make sure you have everything written in, and you've got that hot question answered. All right, historians, I'll see you soon. Talk to you later. Love you. Bye.